There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year, and here I am with my first wee book haul of 2024. The first one is a book that I can't believe had passed me by, and when I found out about it a month or so ago, I promptly ordered it. And here it is. It is an Indigenous novel by a writer who is colonially located in Canada. He's a member of the James Smith Cree Nation. He lives and writes on Vancouver Island, and it is called My Indian Summer by Joseph Kakwinokanasum. I hope I've got that right. And it was published by Tidewater Press in 2022. Some places I've seen online categorize it as YA, but we're just going to ignore that. If I like it, it's not YA. My goodness, I don't read YA. It's literary fiction, but it sounds really interesting. It won the Writers' Trust of Canada Rising Star Award the year it was published. A young man, 12-year-old Hunter, is abandoned by his family in the summer of 79. He has entrepreneurial talents and a plan to escape from his monstrous mother. That sounds pretty darn interesting. Here's the opening paragraph. So remember, Hunter is 12 years old. Hunter woke exhausted. He'd been running in his sleep, his socks furled at his heels, his jeans rolled to his knees. In the dark, the bright red digits from his alarm clock shone, 4:03 a.m. The house slept. He threw the thin blanket back, sat up, smelled perspiration as he straightened his stained shirt and slipped into his shoes. At the foot of his bed, he kneeled and pulled back the cover and sheet to expose the mattress where a small tear gaped like a mouth. Reaching in, he took a string and drew out a purple and gold Crown Royal bag. He gave it a shake. It jingled and chimed like silver change in an old man's pocket. Hunter smiled, stuffed it back in its hiding place, and made the bed. Here is a single short story published late, somewhere in the second half of 2023 by the wonderful Irish writer Claire Keegan, So Late in the Day. It's really confusing because around the same time, a short story collection was issued with the same title, So Late in the Day, and this is the title story in that collection. And as far as I understand it, this is one of or the only originally published short story in the collection. I don't like it when publishers do that, but I'll read anything Claire Keegan writes, although it's interestingly, the first thing I ever read by Claire Keegan was in that horrible Faber 90th edition, 90th anniversary short, individually bound short stories where all the stories were crap, including Claire Keegan's. Not all. There was about 5 out of 30 that were good. But I didn't like Claire Keegan's story in that series. Here we go with, I think, the newest thing she's done, So Late in the Day. Of course, I worship her novellas, Small Things Like These, and Foster in particular. I don't mind shelling out however much this was. It was maybe $20 or $25 Canadian to get this from Blackwell's in the UK. I still haven't read it, which is kind of crazy. It's about a man facing regrets over a woman with whom he could have spent his life, and that's certainly all I need to know. And here is the opening paragraph. On Friday, July 29th, Dublin got the weather that was forecast. All morning, a brazen sun shone across Marion Square, reaching onto Cathal's desk where he was stationed by the open window. A taste of cut grass blew in, and every now and then a close breeze stirred the ivy on the ledge. When a shadow crossed, he looked out. A gulp of swallows skirmishing, high up in camaraderie. Down on the lawns, some people were out sunbathing, and there were children, and beds plump with flowers. So much of life carrying smoothly on, despite the tangle of human upsets and the knowledge of how everything must end. Oh, I love that. And finally, I should have had the information by my side here. I'm not very organized, but this is a book I bought for a book club. One of the co-organizers is my friend James Morrison, who published his debut novella in late 2023. He's been a guest on my bite-sized book chats and various other collaborations on my channel for years. He is from Australia, and he and some guy, I think it's the guy that does the Neglected Books website and also is involved in bringing a lot of those books back into publication. I might have that wrong, in which case you won't hear this. But whoever he's collaborating with, they're having a online Zoom-based, I'm not sure if it's Zoom, but some kind of an online book club in 2024 for short books. And this is one of them. And this is the one that particularly appealed to me just based on the description. I'll put at the bottom of the screen which month that book club discussion will be, but all of the details, check out the show notes for more information. I'm going to buddy read this with Joe Smith. Without further ado, this is what the book is. Panthers and the Museum of Fire by Jen Craig. I knew nothing about it or her. She is an Australian writer based in Sydney, I believe. This was published in 2015. The opening premise is that a woman is walking in Sydney carrying the manuscript of a childhood friend who has recently died. And what the hell else does one need to know about this? Oh, and here's the opening paragraph. For a long time I have dreamed of such a breakthrough, I thought, as I set off from my flat in Glebe on that Monday morning, walking to a cafe in Crown Street for no other reason than to meet the sister, Pamela, so that I could give her back the manuscript, Panthers and the Museum of Fire, supposedly unread, as she had insisted on the phone only 2 days after she'd given it to me. I have spent years and years of my life doing little more than work towards this very breakthrough. I have sacrificed love, holidays, sanity, my health, I told myself on my way up the street from the place where the building I lived in had mired itself in the roots of Moreton Bay figs and playground urine and the fetid remnants of plastic bags. Doing nothing but work and work. Or at least all the time just seeming to work and work. To get close to this breakthrough that might indeed have always escaped me, because this is how I find it, and in spite of myself. Well, I don't want to read too much into that paragraph, but it does remind me, I mean, it was published long before this book. I think it's right there. R.F. Kuang's Yellowface. I don't know if it involves stealing the dead friend's manuscript, pretending she wrote it, but if it does, then maybe R.F. Kuang stole the idea from Jen Craig. I'm certainly beguiled by the opening premise. Speaking of beguilement, do any of these catch your fancy? Thanks for watching.